Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Scrubber Foley.
And I'm BH.
Today's show is about the best schedule the Washington football team could possibly hope for, plus some anecdotal, secondary, and even some tertiary reasons why the Washington football team will travel to LA February 22nd, 2022. And we are here to tell you why. Stay tuned, Burgundy and Gold. Hit it!
Welcome back, everybody. Just want to give you a heads up that on August 11th, BH and Scrubber are going to be doing our first prediction show. It'll be a preview and a prediction for that New England game, the first preseason game. So, stay tuned for that. Good stuff.
That's right, BH. I appreciate it. Wow. Do we got the best schedule ever? It's got great preseason flow. The bye-week placement is perfect. The regular season will be a masterpiece. We will finish out the season against our division, the last 5 games, right? And hopefully clinching the number 1 seed with one of the most epic seasons in NFL history. We have our good friend here, BH here, to share his insights as well into this gift of a schedule that we have. Welcome, BH.
Thanks, man. Yeah, this schedule's great. And I've been reading about toughest schedules, easiest schedules and stuff like that. But you hit it. The schedule's got a flow. And that's what's a beauty. And we're gonna go over it, and people are gonna see that the way the schedule sets up, not just the bye week and away games or home games. I mean, we're avoiding some winter disaster games. You don't have to go to Green Bay or KC in December. We have to put up with that garbage. There's not a lot of mileage either, right? There's no flying around. Sure, we got to go to Denver. Got to go to Vegas. That's not a big deal. We're not going all the way to the coast. So there's just so many good things about this. And we got some early tough games, that's for sure. I think that's great. And I'll tell you why. Because win or lose, the Washington football team, they're going to know what they have. And they're going to learn a lot. Not going to have a bunch of patsies up there to start the season and thinking they're somebody that they're not. So either way, when you're playing KC, you're playing the Buffalo Bills, win or lose, you walk out of those games, you're going to figure out who you are really quick.
That's right. Yeah, it's a great schedule. That's a nice setup, BH. And so let's just start out with the very first game. Real start of the preseason is with who? The Washington football team. That's right. From the very first game of the preseason to the Super Bowl. Riverboat Ron and this crew are going to be showcasing to the world what is about to be the most glorious season with a matchup against New England. That's a 4:30 start time Pacific at Gillette Stadium. First out.
Yeah, so that first preseason game, Patriots, that's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's pretty evenly matched. First preseason game, so we're going to see a lot of starters. And for us Washington football team fans, that's going to be great. We got a lot of new free agents and obviously the draft picks to watch. So, yeah, I'm going to really enjoy that game. So who comes up after that?
Well, of course, next is the Bengals at home at FedEx Stadium in front of the home crowd. These guys are going to be punching bags. Sorry, Joe. Now, look, I know it's the preseason, but my view here is that the Washington football team's second string, bubble players, whoever, will be better than our opponents' second string, bubble players, or whoever.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. Just down the line across the board, just a better roster. Cincinnati's struggling kind of team. This is a W.
Yep, for the win. And they have to take 5 more men off the roster for that one.
That's true. Yep.
Reduce
it by 5. So
now they're down to 80 men. So the Ravens are next. They're a tough team, but still a preseason game, which will test the Washington football match in a test that seems fairly even. This one, too, will be at FedEx Stadium in front of the home crowd. Also, the game where we stripped down to the 53-man final roster.
Yeah, it's a big game. Obviously, there won't be a lot of starters. Now that we have a 3-game preseason, maybe a little bit more, but usually with these right before the season, you don't get to see a lot of those guys because it's important. We want to see the draft picks. We want to see those undrafted guys. Like you said, it's a big cut down to 53. So to me, it's kind of a toss-up, but it'll be a lot of fun watching those young guys fight to make this roster or at least the practice squad. So yeah, it's going to be great. So, oh, you know what? Before we get on to the regular season, just want everyone to know that we are going to have planned, well, there'll be more than just 2. We've got 2 planned live streams. Now, one is right before the beginning of the season, we are going to do a live stream 53-man roster breakdown. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun, man. 53 great players. And then at the bye week, I think week 9, Scrub?
Week 9. Very good.
Week 9. Yeah, so week 9, then we'll do a live stream there, kind of reviewing the first half of the season, getting ready for the next one. Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be really good.
Okay, man, so let's hit it. We got to do the regular season. Where do we start?
Where do we start? Well, the very first game of the year is going to be at home, and it starts at 1 o'clock in front of the fans. The Bolts come to Washington. All narratives will be on Herbert. That narrative will change.
Yeah, this is going to be a great home opener for the Washington football team. Get to play a pretty darn good Bolts team, actually. Be pretty evenly matched, but I think the thing that makes a difference is, for one, they got to play in front of our crowd, the big home opener, and it is a trip to the East Coast. It makes a difference, and I think that's just going to be enough. There you go. That's a W for me. So let's move on now. Next game, the Giants.
Yeah.
Team with a lot of work. They are a division rival. Can't take them, can't take them too easy. But for me, I don't think they have any problem handling the Giants offensively or defensively.
I believe this is going to start at least a 5-1 to 6-0 division win streak. Okay.
Okay.
So I think we're 2-0 so far into week 2. And I'd like to say, too, including the 2 preseason games that we had and these 2 regular season games that we've had so far, the Washington football team has had 4 games at home in a row. So they should be gelled together enough for their first away game coming up in week 3 against the Bills. They're not too far away to travel. It's another 1 o'clock start game, so their routine is steady as a rock. Now, It's a stiff challenge for the Washington football team, but with all these factors ahead of time, we should be coming off a couple wins. We should be ready for competition. And these guys are going to, at the very least, if we don't come away with the win, they will test our skills and sharpen our level of play.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is going to be a challenge. That's a heck of a good football team. And they got great fans, too. So it's a challenge to go up there and play. Yep. And, the quarterback is pretty dynamic. They have to keep an eye on Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Overall, their running game, not that great. I think our front 7 is going to really control that. So we got to keep Josh Allen, kind of hold him down. I kind of label this one as a toss-up, man. It's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, definitely. A win here would be awesome. A non-win here doesn't really affect us too harshly. The Bills are in the AFC and would have minimal effect on our conference positioning and may actually even strengthen our result. You can see how all these games are coming together. So, still on the road for game 4. But again, another 1 o'clock start, which really helps the flow. And at this time, we're heading to the dirty South, to the ATL.
Yeah.
They were 4-12 last year. Not really much to say here. Rivera should be familiar with these guys, their gameplay from back when he was there, and I think Matty Ice and them are going down. It looks like another win to me.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think this is a team in transition. I mean, I think they're good, better than average for sure, but I think the matchup is really it favors the Washington football team. I call this a W, which leads us on next. Another team kind of been doing some transition stuff is the Saints, but we got them at home. Their quarterback situation is a little fluid. That's going to affect them. I think by then, Michael Thomas won't even be back. He's still, trying to get that injury. So man, outside of Alvin Kamara,
no Breeze.
A lot on. Yeah, there's not a lot on that offense. So I really think at home, it's a good football team. Don't get me wrong, good D. Saints have good offensive line, but I think this is a win.
Nice, yeah, and that's back home, in front of the fans, a visit from the Saints, and you get another 1 o'clock start. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The Saints have had an easy schedule up until now.
Yeah, that's the flow, man. You keep talking about the flow. It really means something. Those 1 o'clock starts. Those 1 o'clock starts, man. It's beautiful.
Yes, it is. It's awesome. And, the Saints are headed into an early bye week after this game. They don't have Drew Brees. They got a halfback quarterback. The other guy's a turnover king. And I'm not even sure that stuff's even going to get you there. You know what I'm saying? I think the Saints take a loss to their unnecessary bye week. Man, that sucks for them. But I don't care. So next, here come the Chiefs. No sweat. Again, a 1 o'clock start at home in front of the fans, coming off of what should be a decent streak of at least a few wins before this. They should really be hitting their stride. As you can, it could be tough. They're as ready as they can be. A win would be stellar and can be done. Plus, if need be, we can beat them in the Super Bowl.
There you go. Yeah, this is a lot like the Bills game, but even more of a challenge. It's a really good football team, without a doubt. But they have to come and play the Washington football team at their home. I think that'll have a big impact. I kind of put this in the same with the Bills. This is a toss-up. Either way. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one, but they'll learn. So after the Chiefs, what are we doing next?
Next, we're back on the road. So, which isn't too bad. We traveled to Green Bay for this one. And another 1 o'clock start. Huh. I just can't say enough about having all these consistent starts. It's just crazy. So Green Bay is really one of the few stumbling blocks to Washington football team's #1 seeding. So, as you get towards the end of the year, if you're tied with another team in your conference, if you can gain that win over them, you get the seeding. So that's why this is a fairly important game for that kind of stuff. And I believe that by the time we get there, Rodgers ain't going to be happy. None of them people are going to be happy. They're going to be in disarray. And I think we have a really good chance of taking them. So.
Yeah. Let's hope some of that off-season BS creeps into their psyche, right?
Yeah.
Throws them off their game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of residual bitterness going on. They've come to a resolution, but I don't think everything's okay in Green Bay. I think we match up good against those guys. So I think they can go there and get a win. I really do. And thank God, it's like I said earlier, it's not in December. It's not going to be a snow ice game, where they get a huge advantage, so it's a great place to play football, really, playing in Lambeau. It's really cool. I think our guys will be up for it. And after that, now this is a second road trip after Green Bay. Got to go to Denver. I put this up as a win. I'm not going to beat this one for too long. I mean, basically, their quarterback situation really hasn't been resolved. Either of those two guys, I'm not impressed with, and really going up against the Washington football team front seven, it's gonna be a long day for those guys.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's week 8. It's a road game to Denver. It's the second of 2 West Coast travels that we have to do.
Yeah.
This is one of the times when our start time is actually a little different. It's on the West Coast, but in their own time, they get to start a little later in the afternoon for their time. So they get a little bit of time to acclimate a little bit. It's a Mile High Stadium. It takes you a week to acclimate to that. So, but it gives them a little bit of space to adjust to the altitude. And then this is the game before the bye week. So they know they got some rest coming up. So they can probably even push a little hard to win this game, even under the duress of traveling and all these kinds of things. They're going to get the bye week rest. So, there's a likelihood that this is going to come out as a win. So, and it's going to set up the glory of the round 2 of the schedule. I believe we're at about 6-2 at this point.
Yeah, I can live with 6-2. I think that's legit.
All right, now, week 10 against Tampa. The Washington football team is coming off a bye week. They should be feeling good, rested. This one is at home. Fuck yeah. And guess what? A 1:00 start. How cool is that? At this point, the Washington football team should be well grounded. They should be trusting the system here. And this is where we look to seal the deal on being the number 1 seed. Also, loss here is not really a tragedy.
Yeah, not really at all. And it will be interesting to see this Tampa team because they look so great on paper. But, man, a lot of times these Super Bowl teams trying to repeat, it never goes the way that it's supposed to go. But, it will be a tough game. But the 2 big factors, man, like you said, coming off the bye week, and you're playing at home, I mean, that sets you up. I mean, right there could give you a victory.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of that big, what I talk about, that schedule flow. Man, it just flows right together. Plus, Tom's getting old. He might not even make it to this point in the season.
That would be a shame. Yeah.
Yeah, he might not make it to the next game after this one. So, next up is the Panthers. Now, Ron Rivera's old team, we travel to North Kakalaki for another 1:00 start. And this will finish off the NFC South. This should be a ringer either way. Coming off a win against Tampa instills confidence. Coming off a loss to Tampa, then I feel sorry for the Panthers for the ass beating they're about to receive.
Yep. And I think that's something where you could come off a big win against Tampa and maybe fall asleep against Carolina, but Ron's not going to let that happen. He's going back home. They're going to be pumped up. Just a superior team. They're a team that's I think they're getting better, actually. I think I do like their coach. I like what they're doing, but they're not going to be strong enough for this team, which that's a W. So let's move on.
Nice.
Seahawks. Seahawks at home. So, here's an interesting team. Who knows what you're going to get with these guys? But it's a home game. They got to come all the way from the West Coast. The big thing for them, man, is their offensive line is and almost always has been transitioning. They don't seem to invest a lot. Maybe a free agent left tackle and stuff, but they never seem to be up to snuff. And against this front seven, you'll get crushed. So to me, that's a victory. They'll dominate. The front seven will dominate Russell Wilson.
Yeah. The Seattle Seahawks. And you think if Russell Wilson had a, tough time with his O-line before, he's really in trouble this time. And this actually is where the Washington football team gets to showcase their stuff on Monday Night Football. That's right. Yeah, this is going to be a showcase game. So last year, Seattle pulled off a win against the Washington football team. I thought it was a little lucky.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be so lucky this time. So next up, we have our second West Coast travel. So this time it's against Gruden and the Raiders in Vegas in that new stadium. That ought to be awesome. It's a late afternoon start. Again, this works for us being on the West Coast, gives them time to acclimate. Also, this is the last West Coast game we have, and we only had two. Everything else after this game, from here on out, all five of them are all East Coast, all division rivals. Yes, the last five games are against our division rivals. It's almost unheard of. And that's going to be the most glorious end run in NFL history. If we can sweep all division rivals, clinch the division, clinch the conference, get that number one seed, see our enemies driven before us, and let's just sit here for a second, okay, before we move forward.
That's a lot to take in, man, but It's so true.
Starting with?
Hey, home against the Dallas Cowboys. That's a beautiful thing, man. And that's pivotal of, this last stretch. Because I think that's the only challenge in the division is that team. Punch them in the face at home, take them out, and then move on from there. That's a W for me.
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys at home, in front of the fans, starting this division run. I'm sure the Cowboys know that too. They're not ignorant of that fact.
Sure.
And that's a 1:00 start. I just can't say enough about that. Dan Quinn they got, Mike McCarthy. I don't even think McCarthy's still going to be with them at this point either. You know what I'm saying? So Washington football team should see a crystal clear path here. Their destiny is in their own hands at this point, and the Cowboys are going to suffer for that. You know what I'm saying? Looks like a win to me too. So next, the Washington football team travels to Philly. It looks like scorched earth for Philadelphia. Win column.
Yep, I agree. I think that's a W. It's a short trip. That's a nice thing about this schedule. Like you say, Washington to Philly, no big deal. So they'll take care of them. And then another big game at Dallas.
Yeah.
So we talked about that one being pivotal at home. I think they take care of business in that game. This will be a challenge because now it's all for the nuts. Everyone's going for it. And Dallas will be ready. They'll be at home. I'm looking at this as it's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. That's going to be a challenge at Dallas.
No, I like it. I feel like as we head to Dallas, I think we're going to finish what we started here. I think it's going to be, this is another one of them premier shows, I believe. It's a Sunday night. And late in the season, it's going to be a hope-ending, soul-crushing, total humiliation of Jerry Jones and America's team. Therapy will be necessary for their fans. Hell, mandatory for Cowboy fans. So that looks like a win to me.
There you go.
And now, whatever's left of the Eagles will scrape together and drag their fat asses to Washington for the double tap. Another glorious 1:00 start. The Washington football team will probably be saving their starting squad and going with their, the secondary people, the popcorn guy, a random fan. They're going to keep all their starting people healthy at this point for the post run. So it looks like a win to me, BH.
Yeah, I think these last two games, they're going to be so fired up. There's just two games left. They're division rivals, and it's only Philly and the Giants. They've got to be just pumped knowing they can go in, punch these two in the head, and just get ready for the playoffs. So, a W and a W. That's the way I look at it.
Nice, exactly. Yeah, when that Giants game, we go down to see them, which is cool because you really want to do, the blood sacrifice on their property. You know what I'm saying?
Heck yeah.
Sealing the deal
Sure.
on the road. So this schedule is a roadmap to victory. So we play all the AFC West. 3 of those games are at home, and the only one that's away is the lowly Broncos. We play the NFC South, which is the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Bucks. That's
Right.
at least 2 out of 3 there. Plus we destroy our division rivals. Plus the last 3 games on our schedule are the Bills, the Seahawks, and Green Bay. So that's all of them together there. Now, all this adds up to, now I'm no math wizard, but they will easily do better than last year, which was 7-9, and that took the division. Okay? So, being a practical man, let's say they only upgrade to 9-8 out of 17 games. Okay, let's look at the potential non-wins. First, we could drop games to the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, the Bills, Packers, Hawks, maybe an outlier, and 2 division rivals. That's 9-8, which could land them in first place. If you're 9-8 in that division, you could get first. Now, I think they could get another win out of those guys. Okay? So out of those 8 potential non-wins, they could pick up maybe the outlier. Okay? Maybe, another division rival. Okay, so that brings you up to, what is that, 11-6? That's kind of doable. And if they're really humping, they pick up 1 or 2 more of those. You could pump up all the way to 14-3, but I'm not ridiculous. So I think that if the Washington football team really stays on their game, as I can see them from right now, I think a 12-5 win-loss record for the Washington football team, and that's my prediction.
Good job. I love the breakdown. Yeah, 12-5. I kind of follow what you're saying on those games. Like you look at those 8 potential losses at 9-8. There's no way that's going to happen. I don't see anything worse than 11-6. And now 11-6 is the division to me, without a doubt. Yeah. They'll win that division. And seeding wise, I don't know what that gets them, but they're not going to do any worse than 11-6.
Division title, conference title, Super Bowl, Ron Rivera Coach of the Year, Fitz gets Super Bowl MVP and league MVP. There could be some defensive MVP, rookie MVPs in there. So, and I just have 3 more thoughts on just this overall schedule and overall things of why I think they're going to the Super Bowl and going to win. Okay, so here they go. They just redid their whole field. New irrigation system, new sod, new everything. They dug it all down, dug it all out, threw it all away, and put a new system in. That shows dedication to what they want to do. So now the Washington football team is also trying to get a new stadium in a couple of years. That's big, big money. The best time to sell a new stadium to your fan base and secure money is during a Super Bowl run season. Now, the Ginger Hammer is the Vince McMahon of the NFL. The NFL East has a huge fan base. All of them are giant cities encompassing a large regional market. And really, some of these teams extend into the larger market of the unaffiliated cities and even countries. Think England and Mexico. Who are they supposed to cheer for? You know what I'm saying? Losing teams don't make money. This needs fixed. How? What better narrative to have than a cancer-beating badass coach and a well-rounded coaching staff, bringing legitimacy back to the Washington football team, a journeyman quarterback like Fitzmagic, mentoring a great group of athletes, elite players, super young team, poised for a multi-year run, tons of narratives to exploit, a scheduling gift from nowhere, and all the trimmings that define a historic season, bringing the glory back to the NFC East. The Washington football team is that team. I rest my case.
Great job, Scrubber. I love it, man. Hey, so what's next on the schedule for us, man?
Well, next on the schedule for us is going to be our first prediction show. And on that show, we're going to be predicting that first game against the New England Patriots. And that show is going to be on Wednesday, August 11th. Don't miss it.
All right, I'll be there, brother. Good job.
Thanks, BH. See you then. Good night, everybody.